What's up, folks? Welcome back to Tactical Tortoise. My name is Trevi, and it's a very exciting day today because we do have all of the points changes for the latest data slate update to Warhammer 40k to coincide alongside the Warzone Nephilim release. Normally, these points changes for a new season would be included inside the chapter-approved manual, but Warzone Nephilim is being conducted a little bit differently, which I really appreciate. In that, Games Workshop is no longer including the points with a separate book that comes alongside the pack that you have to buy. Instead, the points are all updated for free online, which is awesome. That reduces the cost of the Warzone Nephilim pack itself and makes the points more accessible to everybody who wants to view them before they get changed online in the future anyway. Typically, we would see pretty quick erratas or addendums to the Munitorum Field Manual regardless, and so it basically meant that that publication in particular was essentially useless because you would just immediately, it would be overwritten by another release or an update or anything like that. Now, this has been released on Warhammer Community today, June 22nd, and what I'm going to be doing today is breaking down all of the changes that I've been able to find in the document by super faction. So what I'm going to do is go through all of the Xenos factions first, then I'll move to Chaos subfactions, Eldar subfactions, and Imperial subfactions, and break down all of the changes that I've been able to find in this document. Now, the one thing that we don't have, unfortunately, is a change list, so we're just basically going to have to go ahead and compare every single points value to its existing points value, and in this video, we're going to be going through the Xenos subfactions. Starting with Genestealer cults, unfortunately, this is going to be a relatively quick one because Genestealer cults saw absolutely no changes in this document. As far as I can tell, everything is the same as it was, which is a little bit strange. This is sort of the perennially underperforming faction of the edition, and unfortunately, we haven't seen any buffs to them this time around. I think that kind of speaks to me that Games Workshop doesn't really know what to do with Genestealer cults. They work so mechanically differently from every other faction that it's difficult to be able to give them significant buffs without sort of giving them the potential to horde mode across the table and really kind of create these negative play experiences. We do have some changes to Tyranids, however, moving to the other forces of the Hivemind subfaction. Most of these were rumored out, although there are a couple of surprises in here. We do have all of the Hive Tyrant variants. That includes Winged Hive Tyrants, Foot Hive Tyrants, as well as the Swarm Lord, all pumping up 20 points. I think we definitely expected that for Winged and Foot Hive Tyrants, but certainly not for the Swarm Lord. That was a little bit of a surprise. Tyranid Warriors have pumped up to 5 points from 25 to 30. The Maleceptor, as was foretold, has gone up 50 points from 170 to 220, and I think unfortunately, that relegates it to the dustbin of history. Not really sure that there's enough space for Maleceptors anywhere, really, from here on out. Pyrovores, also, as was rumored, going up 10 points from 30 to 40 points. Now, one thing that we didn't see coming is Death Leaper, increasing 25 points from 95 to 120. A little bit sad. We also see Raveners increasing 5 points to 35. All of the Carnifex variants, including Standard Carnifexes, Screamer Killers, and Thornbacks, all going up 15 points. I think there were a lot of people upset about the Carnifex profile, but I think that was relatively unearned because they tended to do very poorly against armies that could, engage well with direct line of sight shooting, and Carnifexes tend to die pretty quickly. So I'm a little surprised to see a Tyrannifex nerf. We also see an Exocrine nerf here, and I think this one was hinted at, but the rumors didn't quite get it right, going up 30 points from 170 to 200. Harpies also getting their comeuppance. The base Harpy profile going up 15 points, and each of their heavy venom cannons going up 5 apiece, for a grand total of 205 if you take the heavy venom cannon Harpy profile. And that's it. That's all the changes for Tyranids. No changes to the lesser played units, but I think that was mostly to be expected. Now moving up to the other Xenos subfactions, we have Tau. And Tau, unfortunately, got a little bit of the short end of the stick, I think, on this one. All of the Tau commanders, so that includes Commander in Cold Star battlesuits, Crisis battlesuits, and Enforcer battlesuits, increasing 10 points apiece, so they're just flat. Although the characters, the special character commanders, have not changed as far as I can see. Ethereals going up 20 points, and all of the Crisis Battlesuit units also getting a points increase. Crisis Battlesuits going from 30 points to 40, a 10-point increase, absolutely wild, as well as Crisis Bodyguards going from 35 points apiece up to 40 to match. Beyond that, the only change we saw was the Storm Surge going from 330 points up to 400. I think that one was relatively well earned as well. 330 points for the Storm Surge profile, at least at release, was a little bit silly, and makes a little bit more sense at that high points cost, although I think they've been kind of crept a little bit by the amount of damage that Storm Surges can do. Now that moves us up to Orks, and Orks did get some nice quality of life changes here, although they are relatively simple. First off, the Beast Boss and Squigosaur dropping 15 points from 175 down to 160. Pretty nice. I think that guy was pretty competitive still at what the 175 points cost, but it was too much of a bump up, I think, from his initial release points cost, which I think was 120 points maybe. It was very low, at least on release. Other than that, all of the infantry units, as far as I can tell, besides Flash Gits in the Codex, have gone down 1 point per model. So we see Beast Naga Boys, Regular Boys, Gretchen, finally, Gretchen back down to 4 points per model, Burna Boys, or Commandos, Knobs, Tank Bustas, not Mega Knobs and not Flash Gits like I said before, but all of those dropping 1 point per model. So not huge changes, but we do squeak a couple of extra points out of Ork lists, which is pretty nice, especially given the fact that Orks have been kind of nipping at the heels of the upper echelon of the metagame for a little while. They haven't necessarily been able to put up a lot of X and 1 or X and O results, but they've certainly been trying. Now, the real faction where all of the buffs were concentrated here, and I do think that this faction has some real evangelists within the design team because they keep getting these buffs, and that is Necrons. And I think I'm mostly just going to read out the changes here because Necrons got an absolute ridiculous number of them. First off, basically all of the characters have been reduced. Anrikir the Traveler, Nemesaur, Saraz, Oricon the Diviner, Trees of the Infinite, and Oberon, as well as Catacomb Command Barges, reducing 10 points. All of the Cryptek variants reducing 5 points. Illuminor Saraz, Imhotep the Stormlord, and the Standard Overlord profile dropping 15 points. Regular Lords, Locust Lords, and Wardens, Royal Wardens dropping 5 points. No changes to the Scorpic Lord, however, the basically only Lord that did see a lot of play. We did see a couple changes to the Infantry. Immortals down 1 point per model. Deathmarks down 3. Lychguard down 3 as well as Triac Praetorians also down 3, but no changes to Necron Warriors. We also see huge changes to a lot of the other Elite's Choice. All of the named Catan Shards dropping 50 points per model. Hexmark Destroyer dropping 10 points. Transcendent Catan, so the unnamed Catan Shards dropping 40 points. Triarch Stalkers dropping 15 points. Tomb Blades going down 5 points to 20 per model, which is pretty nice. Doom Scythes dropping 15. Night Scythes dropping 10. Ghost Arcs dropping 15. Locust Destroyers and Heavy Destroyers both dropping 5 points per model. The Silent King himself going down 20 points to an even 400. A little bit sad because I like the meme number of 420 points, but it is nice that Necrons get extra points now. Tesseract Vaults dropping 50 points. Obelisks and Monoliths dropping 30 as well. And the only, as far as I can see, the only Forge World change in the Xeno section of the game being the Tomb Sentinel dropping 15 points down to 110. Huge changes to Necrons. Necron armies are going to be significantly larger. Although, to be fair, a lot of these changes are to non-repeatable units, which means you probably only will be able to eke back maybe 100, 150 points or so in your armies. But still, that's going to be a meaningful amount when it comes to units like Necrons that are potentially recursable over the course of the game. Super cool to see Necrons getting such buffs. Stay tuned for other coverage of these points changes as I go through the remainder of the document, because I'm going to be going through all of the different super factions and talking about all of the points changes that we've seen there. This has just been the Xenos side, and yeah, it's going to be good. So give us a like, give us a subscribe if you want to see more Warzone Nephilim coverage, and we'll get back to it.